Center. Let's take a look at our Buffalo Wild Wings starting lineups. First, for Michigan at 8-6 and 1-1 in conference play. Spike Albrecht coming off a 17-point game in the loss at Purdue just a few days ago. And for Penn State, the Nittany Lions, led by DJ Newbill. 42% of Penn State's offense facing DJ Newbill in the backcourt. A veteran starting lineup, save for the freshman, Shep Garner. There's the head coach. 9 wins in the previous 2 seasons before this year. We are ready to get this one started. Great to have you with us tonight from University Park. Derek Walton Jr. controlling the inbound and handing off to Spike Albrecht. Albrecht with 17 against Purdue. Here's Karis LeVert. Albrecht giving to Derek Walton Jr. Walton, the sophomore, has been trying to battle through that toe injury that he suffered against Villanova. Here's Irvin. And a good start for Zach Irvin could mean good things for Michigan. He's been up and down. They'd like to see him up tonight. Yeah, just a great down screen to get Zach clear for that 17-foot shot, Kevin. And if he's knocking him out, that's big news for Michigan. Just 6 for 27 his previous 2 games from the floor. Coming into this one. Down low, Dickerson turns, can't connect. LeVert with the rebound for Michigan. Deflection and taken away. Brandon Taylor able to scoop it up after the deflection. Penn State 7-0 at home this season as Newbill on the drive all the way to the rim, ties it at 2. Kevin, that's what makes him such a difficult guard. He can take it to the rim, and if you don't honor him, he can now hit the 3. Well, an interesting conversation we had before the game with John Beilein, where we asked him his thoughts on DJ Newbill, and he said he has changed his game and expanded it every single year. He compared him favorably to Teran Petaway, the dynamic player at Nebraska. Watch shot inside, and Brandon Taylor able to scoop it away. Yeah, Ricky Doyle just got too far under the rim that time. They jammed him under. He had nowhere to shoot it. Quick 3 for Shep Garner off the mark. Long rebound out of bounds, and it'll belong to Penn State. One more look at DJ Newbill on the drive. A great crossover, which you just saw there. You think he's going one way, and the next thing you know, you're over there, and he's at the rim. He struggled against Rutgers in that disappointing loss for Penn State. 4 for 17. Yeah, Kevin, the whole team did. They just didn't have it. They changed starting lineups. Gino Thorpe was inserted the sophomore for Ross Travis. Ross Travis is right back in the starting lineup tonight. Travis with the fadeaway jumper barely draws iron, and the rebound to Karis LeVert. Now LeVert in the open floor. Trying to get his scoring game going. Only double figures in one of his last 5 games. They need him to play big, and Albrecht turns it over. It's interesting, John decided to start Spike after the 17-point game at Purdue. He's going much smaller. Chapman had been starting all the games, and now he went smaller with Spike. Spike Albrecht, guy who's spent most of his time off the bench in his career. It's his 91st game played, though, and he's playing a lot of minutes, maybe a few too many right now. Yeah, 27. He said that just before, Kevin. Maybe 15 to 20 would be better. But injuries and depth have kind of forced the hand. You've got to play the experience, and that's what Albrecht brings. Nice takeaway, and then a foul is called on Garner. Just blitzed the ball screen there, and Shep Garner had nowhere to go, and he lost it. He's been a game changer for Penn State, Kevin, the freshman point guard from the fabled Roman Catholic program in downtown Philadelphia. Oh, he was terrific there. 3-time All-State. Over 1,000 points in his high school career. Been an immediate injection into that starting lineup for every game this year for Penn State. Karis LeVert jumps it down low to Doyle. Doyle waiting for the traffic, and Ross Travis commits the foul. Good patience from the freshman Ricky Doyle down low. He's really been terrific since they put him in the starting lineup. John had told us they were actually planning to redshirt him. And then because of all they lost, they weren't expecting to lose John Horford. He ended up at Florida as a 5th-year player. And all of a sudden, Ricky's not only redshirting, he's starting. Well, he told us, look, Ricky's been the most active big in practice. He forced our hand. And as a starter, you see the last 3 games, averaging almost 12 points per game and shooting nearly 80% from the floor. 15 of 19 in his last 4 games, knocks out both free throws. Ricky Doyle just a 59% shooter at the line. And one of the things John Beilein told us, they've got to get to the line tonight. I don't think they've been getting there enough. They only average 17 trips per game to the free throw line. Rebound tipped out. Doyle trying to corral it. Ball knocked free. Newville's got it. Nice dish inside to Taylor. Taylor in traffic, can't connect, and it's tipped out of bounds. It'll stay with Penn State.
It looked like he had an easy shot, Kevin, then he made it into a more difficult shot by coming back to his right hand with that little jump hook from about 7 feet.
Taylor, the junior, will inbound. Back out it goes Shep Garner. Travis looking inside for Taylor. Taylor matching up against Albrecht, but the missed jam by Dickerson sends it back the other way. Now Albrecht to work on the offensive end. The drive, the dish, and the finish by Karis LeVert.
And that's still their game no matter who is on this team. They shoot 24 threes a game, and if they're making around 40%, they're very, very difficult to beat.
Karis LeVert getting started on a good note tonight, and that's big as well. Zach Irvin hit his first shot. Karis LeVert hits his first three. Two guys who really struggled in the Purdue loss, especially in the second half, and add Derek Walton Jr. to the mix, and a timeout taken by Penn State.
Yeah, everybody's hot.
Basketball court trying to cut, trying to move, trying to drive and dish. That's not easy to do.
Yeah, Coach Beilein was telling us that just they're managing his minutes even in practice. They're not, some days he can practice, some days he can't.
There's Geno Thorpe off the bench now for Penn State. Thorpe got his first start of the year, as Dick mentioned, against Rutgers in that 50-46 loss this past weekend.
He's their defensive stopper, Kevin. He's a great on-ball defender.
That's what they need right now. Michigan off to the hot start, but he turns it over. Tried to dish it in traffic to Dickerson, and Michigan on the run the other way. Derek Walton Jr. pushing it into the corner. Now he'll back it out. Karis LeVert. Here's Doyle with 20 on the shot clock. Zach Irvin now, and Walton will reset. We've got an official's timeout.
Something happened to Derek Walton. Face, it looks like, Kevin.
That'll turn into our immediate timeout. 10-2 Michigan, while they tend to score 72 points per game in the non-conference, 59 points per game in conference play. And unfortunately, they're trending, at least to start, Dick, the way they've been through the first couple of games of conference.
Played well at Wisconsin, had 72 in a loss, but 46 Saturday night at Rutgers when they lost that game. And they started that game just like they're starting this game, Kevin, 1 for 8.
1 for 8 and 0 for 2 from 3. And since that Rutgers game, Penn State is 5 of 29 from three-point range. 0 for 2 tonight. They were 5 for 27 against Rutgers. Having to throw up a prayer with the shot clock winding down, and a jump ball will give it back to Penn State. Donovan Jack into the lineup now for Penn State to add a little size to the front court for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, he's more of an offensive center than Jordan Dickerson is. Jordan's more of a shot blocker, rebounder.
Donovan Jack coming off the bench has been a little bit more of a scorer than he was as a starter. He's been off the bench in now the last 9 games for Penn State. There's Jack going to work against Doyle. Testing that offensive theory that we were just talking about, and he provides the offense off the bench.
That's his shot, the little jump hook. He is left-handed, and he'll come that way almost every time.
So now Spike Albrecht will bring it up and navigate for Michigan. Muhammad Ali Abdul-Rahim off the bench for Michigan.
That was Geno Thorpe that got in that passing lane. That's what he does.
Abdul-Rahim, the freshman, and the 3 hit by Shep Garner.
He came out shooting threes the first game like this is not college. This is still back in high school. He started the first game, and he's looked comfortable ever since.
Irvin, the dish inside, now out to Abdul-Rahim. And the 3, his first made of the year.
He's from about 3 hours east of here in Allentown, played at Allentown Central Catholic. Now
Geno Thorpe on the attack. The floater won't go. Rebound tipped by Albrecht and out of bounds. Here's Donovan Jack.
Again, he's going to come back to his left hand.
With the left hand, and then
Shep Garner just using the ball screen from Ross Travis and walks right into a three. When he gets his feet set, Kevin, he doesn't miss much.
He had been just 10 for 37 over the last 8 games from three. And as John Johnson will inbound for Penn State, another good sign for the Nittany Lions to get him going from outside. Shep Garner, like we talked about with the big three from Michigan, each hitting their first shot of the night. Donovan Jack trying to find DJ Newbill. Levert giving him problems. Newbill on the drive draws the foul. 2 shots coming for DJ Newbill.
I wasn't sure he'd gotten into a shooting motion, but they're giving it to him. Brian Dorsey said he was into his motion. He'll shoot a pick.
Newbill at the line, very solid, 76% on the year. Aren't too many guys around college basketball that carry the burden that DJ Newbill carries in this offense. 42.5% of Penn State's offense comes from DJ Newbill. Look at the points per game, total points, field goals, field goal attempts, free throws, free throw attempts. Doesn't even count the assists. When you add in the assists and the field goals and the impact he has on the offense, only 5 players in college basketball have a larger burden than DJ Newbill.
He's been terrific since he stepped off campus after the 1 year in Southern Mississippi. Patrick recruited him up here to Penn State as a transfer, and he's going to finish his career with 2,000 points.
Nice drive and dish. Donald inside cannot connect, and the rebound tipped out to Gino Thorpe. Now on the run, Newbill with the spin to the rim. Newbill with the finish, and Penn State back within 2.
Those are the kind of moves he's been making all year. The spin move, you saw the crossover earlier, get to the free throw line. A great block at the other end by Ross Travis. It looks like a Gino Thorpe foul.
Thorpe picks up the personal, a 9-3 Penn State run, and one more look at Newbill.
When he starts going downhill, Kevin, you really feel like you're almost defenseless. You're standing there, the ball's charging at you. He's a power guard who's got real ball skills.
BTN goes where you want, when you want it with BTN to go, presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Watch live hoops on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. To learn more, visit btntogo.com. Karis LeVert, knifing inside, lost it. Going the other way is Thorpe, looking for the tie. End-to-end for Thorpe won't go. Newbill's tip won't go, and a foul on Newbill climbing over the back.
Gino Thorpe often takes off too soon, Kevin. That's exactly what happened there. One more dribble, he's right in front of the rim. He took off too soon. He was short on his shot. Defense has gotten a lot better since that timeout. I suspect Coach Chambers may have been chatting with his squad.
He's changed up his lineup once again. Brandon Taylor back on the floor. So it's Taylor and Jack up front. In the backcourt, Johnson, Newbill, and Thorpe. On the floor for Michigan in the backcourt, Walton and Albrecht up front. Max Bielfeldt off the bench along with Cameron Chapman and Karis LeVert. LeVert with the basketball, hands off to Albrecht. Now Karis LeVert losing his footing on his way to the basket. That tie-up will keep it with Michigan. Talked about that lineup for Patrick Chambers and the Penn State bench, our Motel 6 sixth man selection, and that bench has been a big key to the 12 wins that Penn State has posted already this season.
It's the first time in Patrick's 4 seasons he's actually had enough depth where he can put extra players out there, and that's mostly John Johnson and Gino Thorpe with a little Donovan Jack.
Between Johnson and Thorpe, you're talking 15 points per game between those two off the bench.
And Albrecht jumped up and he tried to dribble again. It looks good, but you can do that on the playground, but not here at the Jordan Center in the Big Ten.
Depends on what playground you're playing.
Correct. Some people might say that ain't happening. In other places, they just go play on.
DJ Newbill to work. He's got 6 early points for Penn State. The leaner for Taylor, a little strong. Rebound tipped out and out of bounds. It's going to belong to Michigan. Timeout on the floor, 11:46 remaining in the front.
The ball back
Contributed in large part to why Michigan was not able to get a bucket. They went cold from the floor and didn't get a lot of second chances. 13 minutes without a field goal in that second half.
4 baskets in the second half. You're not beating anybody.
Here's LeVert around the Bielfeldt screen. Karis LeVert a little bit strong. Nice tip by Bielfeldt to keep it alive. Here's a second chance for Michigan. Eric Walton Jr. with time now going to work. Albrecht against John Johnson with 18 to shoot. Jumps it into the corner and out of bounds.
Let him too far. Yeah, right to the corner with no man's land where you're not going to get the ball back. Seeing Michigan get an offensive rebound is unusual because John Beilein is shoot it and get back. Make sure you have floor balance. You don't give up anything easy.
Shep Garner now will bring it up for Penn State. The bounce over to Geno Thorpe. Penn State within 2, got off to the slow start, fell behind 10-2 early. The 3 launched from Brandon Taylor, who's shooting 29% from behind the arc this year. Up the floor comes Walton. Now Albrecht on the drive. The shovel to Bielfeldt. And Bielfeldt with his first 2 off the bench.
I love the jump hook. That's my favorite shot in basketball, and we've seen a couple of them already in this game.
One on each end tonight. That's an old school shot. Thorpe. Good work inside by Walton. Almost got it away from Geno Thorpe.
Number 32, Jordan Dickerson. Number 2, DJ Newell back in the game from Penn State. Replacing Donovan Jackson.
Sunday night, it's the much-anticipated season premiere of BTN's original The Journey Big Ten Basketball 2015 as we take a closer look at the premier basketball conference and the people who live it. Season premiere this Sunday, 10:30 Eastern on BTN. Always great television. Be sure you get yourself ready for that one. The premiere of The Journey. Saw them last night. They were with us in East Lansing, preparing some work for a future episode as John Johnson works his way to the hoop to bring Penn State within 2.
Kept his pivot foot, got from nowhere to somewhere, and banked it in.
Halfway through this first half here at University Park. 2-point ball game. Long jumper for Cameron Chapman rains down.
Did he call glass on that?
He's an old school left-hander. A lot of talent. They like that youngster from Portland, Oregon. Johnson, the 3. And John Johnson with the long-range jumper.
Johnson is Penn State's answer to the microwave from back in the day. He can score 10, 15 points in about 10 minutes if he gets on a roll. He just got 5 in 30 seconds.
Same last name. No relation.
No. Different eras, different generations.
Different size. Walton inside the block by Jordan Dickerson. Here's John Johnson. Tip by Newbill won't go. Johnson is fouled. John Johnson providing a spark off the Penn State bench.
He really looks like he's trapped in the corner, but we talked about him holding that left foot as the pivot foot. He got himself all the way to the rim and did the bank, and he can shoot threes. He's not a great three-point shooter, but when he gets set like he did that time and it keeps his balance, he can make it.
Began his career at Pitt, transferred into Penn State. Been a nice spark here in the early going.
And he's another Philly guy, Kevin. There's 3 Philadelphia players on the floor right now for Penn State, and that's the thing Patrick Chambers has done for the program that had never really happened before. DJ Newbill, of course, from North Philly. Shep Garner is actually from Chester, but we count that in Philadelphia as south of the Philadelphia airport. It all counts as Philly, and of course, Johnny played at Girard College.
How's Rutgers and Maryland impact what Coach Chambers is going to be able to try to do at Penn State from a recruiting standpoint?
I think it's really helped. They're going to reset the shot clock. I think that's really helped because all of a sudden you say to recruits, hey, not only are we playing Big Ten teams out of the Midwest, we're also playing at Maryland and at Rutgers, and it's already gotten them some recruits that maybe they wouldn't have had a chance to get before.
Aubrey Dawkins on the floor from Michigan. He really bailed out Michigan in that Illinois game a couple of games ago. 20 points.
6'3", son of Johnny Dawkins, of course, the Duke great, and now the Stanford head coach.
John Johnson with 20 on the shot clock, going against Dawkins and launching a deep 3. And John Johnson has given Penn State the 19-17 lead.
We say he could score 10 or 15 in 5 or 10 minutes. I got a minute for 8 points.
He scored the last 8 for Penn State. And a 19-17 lead for the Nittany Lions. Who will answer for Michigan? Dawkins around the Doyle screen. Will it be Dawkins again? A little bit strong, and the rebound tipped over to Garner. Shep Garner trying to gauge Derek Walton. Nothing there. Backing down is Taylor with the hook. And Walton there for the rebound.
They got to get him going, Kevin, because he's really their only post-up player, and he needs to make those shots.
And a foul is called as Irvin driving to the rim is fouled by Shep Garner. 19-17.
Season is starting. They started off on the road with 2 losses, and their best player is now out for, as you said, Kevin, 3, 4, 5 weeks.
John Gross's response was next man up. And what else can you do as the head coach when one of your best players goes down? And there's a poke. Doyle got a piece of Gino Thorpe as they were battling for that loose ball, and the foul's going to go on Ricky Doyle.
And Gino tipped that inbounds pass away, and then Ricky hit him. So it's on their third, so Penn State's nowhere near the 1-on-1 yet as we hit the under 8.
First on Doyle. 5 fouls whistled against Penn State, but it does bring up a larger point. Turnovers early have really plagued Michigan, and that's rare. This is not a team that turns the ball over.
10 a game, and they've already got 6.
Travis caught the heel, couldn't get it to fall. Walton the rebound. Walton on the attack. With the blow by, just left it short. Rebound tipped up to Newville. Ahead to Thorpe, one-on-one. Thorpe on the drive against Levert, and a foul. There's that speed in the open floor from Gino Thorpe. You know he feels comfortable in a running game.
He does, and this time he got himself all the way to the rim and forced the foul, and he's a terrific free throw shooter. He's the best on the team.
First foul on Levert, 4th team foul on Michigan, and Gino Thorpe 86% at the line, 7th in the conference.
You look at the shooting numbers and you're trying to figure out how is Penn State ahead in this game. They're coming out of the break. They were 7 for 21 for 33%. Michigan 6 for 12. Then you look at the 6 turnovers for Michigan and the 6 offensive rebounds for Penn State. They'll get 9 more shots up, and Gino makes 2 free throws.
Penn State winning the battle of the boards. We showed you earlier how big that was for Michigan. Michigan wins the battle on the glass. They win games. They lose the battle on the glass, and it becomes a real struggle for the Wolverines.
Remember, Coach Beilein started that smaller lineup tonight with Spike Albrecht, and it got him off to a good start offensively, but no rebounds as Karis LeVert knocks it.
2 for LeVert. Karis with 2 made buckets so far tonight. He's got 5. Newville with the skip to Thorpe. Thorpe got Dawkins in the air, and Thorpe, the sophomore, got the freshman jumping a couple times.
Dawkins made a mistake by running Gino Thorpe off the three-point line because he's not a good three-point shooter. They'd have rather had him shoot it from out there. Once Gino got inside of him, then he drew the foul on the freshman.
This is much more suited to what Patrick Chambers would like to see Gino Thorpe do, shoot free throws. Showed you the numbers a moment ago for Thorpe at the line. He's one of the best in the conference.
He's a slasher and an on-ball defender, and as we're seeing here, a guy who can really make free throws, which makes you wonder why can't he shoot threes, but it's a different shot from 15 and 21.
You've seen so much, Dick, of this Michigan team over the years. Of course, the great runs they've been on over the last couple of years through the tournament. What does John Beilein need to do other than somehow mature these kids quicker to get this offense jump-started?
That's the answer. That's simply the answer. He just lost. Think of all the players that they've lost the last 2 years. The player of the year 2 years ago, Trey Burke and Tim Hardaway on that team that played Louisville for the national championship. And then last year, Nick Stauskas, who's the Big Ten player of the year, Glenn Robinson Jr. and Mitch McGarry. I don't care who you are, unless maybe you're Kentucky or Duke. You just can't lose all that much and expect it to be this easy.
Here's LeVert. We know he's talented, and he can bring a team back, and he hits a 3. If he gets going, he's good enough to carry this team. We've seen it happen already this year.
He was a preseason first-team All-Big Ten player for that very reason. And all 3 of his shots have come from the right side, right in front of us.
Michigan back within 1 now. DJ Newville, he's been quiet. 6 quiet early points. Here's Johnson, who's not been quiet. He'll work his way to the line once more. Karis LeVert, who took just a couple of shots last game in the second half, but Look at Karis LeVert going back to work.
He inbounded it, then he came right back and caught it, and Penn State forgot about the man inbounding the ball. And as we all know, that's the most dangerous player on the out-of-bounds spot.
To the line goes John Johnson. Johnson with 9. The big three, what they've done this year for Michigan, Irvin, LeVert, and Walton. Tonight, those three have already combined for 13 points. That's a very good sign for Michigan because they didn't get much out of those guys in the loss to Purdue in the second half.
They didn't get much about anybody in that second half. They're 4 out of 22.
Those three were 2 for 13 combined in the second half of that loss. And here's that pressure. Token applied, but it's taken away. Johnson stepped from the sideline in front of us and turns it right back over.
Yeah, Brian Dorsey had the call. It was going to be an easy move for Penn State. And it's interesting. This is the same press they used in that big upset here 2 years ago where Penn State hadn't won a conference game and beat that great Michigan team that played for the national title here in their first Big Ten conference win that season. But that looked good for a second until he stepped out of bounds right in front of us.
Coach Chambers today's shoot-around was adamant in discussing that defense with his team. And he said, you're going to need this defense. Trust me, you're going to need this defense tonight.
It's a defense he learned from Jay Wright at Villanova because they've made great use of it for years.
Irvin on the drive, drew the contact, and he'll go to the line for a chance at a three-point play. Zach Irvin slithers his way to the basket. And a chance for one more.
Yeah, Irvin and LeVert have to score big, as we just pointed out on the graphic there. If they do, then this team can become a factor in the league. But as Chow was saying to us before the game again, there's this game here 2 years ago. He's looking around. Well, who played in this game? Did you play in this game? Did you play in this game? Nobody raised their hand except Spike Albrecht. I think he was the only guy that was here.
He said he was talking to one of his sophomores, and he made reference to this game 2 years ago.
What game?
The kid looked at him like, what are you talking about? I wasn't at that game. Underlining the youth that is on this Michigan roster this year. Ross Travis. 5:20 to play in the first half. Penn State by 1. Entertaining first half between these two teams. Geno Thorpe with 12 to shoot. Now Newville going to work. 9 on the shot clock against the freshman Dawkins, and he traveled. Dawkins got some help.
Yeah, he did that a few times Saturday night, Kevin, where he just got himself into a crowd. That's the kind of play where he's a great elbow jump shooter. Just pull up and take that elbow jump shot. It was open.
So Michigan with a chance to regain the lead. They jumped out to a 10-2 start in this ball game, and Penn State able to chip away. John Johnson off the bench, a big spark. Irvin down low, and a foul is going to be called. 1-1 coming up for Michigan.
It's 1-1 both ways now. Next team foul, and Michigan will be their 7th as well.
DJ Newville with his second foul.
That's a significant foul, obviously, for Penn State beyond just the bonus situation.
Coach Chambers did not like the foul call. Said he was just standing there. Irvin on the front end hits the free throw. 79% at the line this year for Zach Irvin.
There was some contact, but it's one of those sometimes that's okay and sometimes it's not. And you just hope it's, when you're the coach, it's against the other guy.
Penn State with some foul trouble right now. LeVert has 2 for Michigan, but Newville and Garner and Travis with 2.
I think what Coach Chambers will do, he'll probably play a little offense, defense with Newville as much as he can at the last 4 minutes, because I don't think he can afford to take him out.
There's Newville. Irvin right out on top of him. Now Brandon Taylor banging his way inside a charge. Walton taking the contact, and Brandon Taylor is called for the charge, his first personal.
He lowered the left shoulder, and when you're right on the baseline in front of the official, you got very little chance to get away with that, and he didn't.
We've talked ad nauseum already this year about the issues with the charge and block call. Somebody who's covered an awful lot of college basketball. What's the fix?
Well, the fix is, unless everybody in the gym thinks it's a charge, it's a block. That's the fix. And they were trying to do that last year with John Adams, the national coordinator of officials. We seem to have reverted to the old way. Not that that wasn't charged. That was fine. But I just think too many times they're giving the advantage of defensive player. That's why scoring is dramatically down again this year. Last year we actually had the and one. Remember that?
I do.
That was a fun thing. But this year we're back to too many charges.
And scoring down all across college basketball, which is why teams that can get up and down the floor a little bit stand out so significantly this year.
And then you get Kentucky and Virginia, who nobody can score against.
Walton looking inside. Nothing there with 13 to shoot. Doyle, 7 on the shot clock. Walton, 4-3. Rebound tipped around. Offensive board for Michigan. In the corner, thrown back out to Albright. New shot clock, new opportunity for the Wolverines to extend their 1-point lead. Urban on the crossover. Johnson tipped it away. Nice catch by Walton. On the shot clock. Albright. Back out Urban for 3. And Zach Urban feeling it a little bit there. He knew that was good as he let it go, and Zach Urban has 9.
It's 5 out of 6 from 3 for Michigan in this game, Kevin. What a start.
What a big lift for a team that's been struggling a little bit offensively to find their range from downtown on the road. Thorpe trying to answer. And the rebound for Michigan. Now on the push. Urban leaving for Walton. Doyle working hard inside. Urban wanted to get it to him, but Taylor wouldn't allow it. Michigan by 4 with the ball. Urban demanding the basketball, throws it away. Got a little deep and tossed to the side, but that's one of the rare mistakes of late for Zach Urban. With 9, Harris LeVert has 8.
Zach was 6 for 27 in his first 2 Big Ten games tonight, 3 for 4. Michigan shooting 53% so far. If they didn't have the 9 turnovers, they'd be way ahead. Penn State only shooting 30%, but hanging in because they're getting way more shots.
5 for 6 from 3 for Michigan. Certainly a welcome sight for John Beilein. Here's Taylor. His shot won't go. Look at Walton climbing the ladder to grab that rebound.
Brandon Taylor 0 for 6 to start the game.
Chapman on the attack, using the window and the rebound to DJ Newbill. I like that shot, though, using the glass. 1:55 and counting to play in this first half.
Little 2-3 zone from Michigan this time.
Johnson will try to shoot him out of it a little bit strong, and the rebound to Albright. The lob, Chapman there, cannot finish. He had an easy layup. Now Thorpe on the attack, and the answer with a finger roll.
4-point turnaround. That's a killer for the coach. We were closer to Chapman than anybody for Penn State, Kevin. He just missed it easily.
Zach Urban. Nice bounce from Walton to Doyle for the two-handed stuff.
Yeah, Penn State went to some zone, and that was the classic to the elbow, to the low post, overload one side. They've been diagramming that play since James Naismith put up the peach baskets.
I'm sure James Naismith imagined a guy like Ricky Doyle slamming it home into that peach basket.
If he did, he would not have had the bottom out of it earlier.
Thorpe with a 3. Wild shot, and Urban the rebound.
Not his shot, as we said earlier, just not a 3-point shooter.
Stay tuned for analysis, predictions, and more on the State Farm halftime report. And a 3 on the other end for Michigan. And Michigan opening up a 7-point lead late in this first half.
That was Chapman. You don't think of him shooting threes out there, but whoever's shooting threes tonight for the Wolverines is making.
6 for 7 from behind the arc inside Donovan Jack with that left-handed hook.
Yeah, it's similar to the one he got before, except he caught that one closer to the basket and actually have to get himself there.
Michigan will hold for the final shot of this first half. First half that's going to have John Beilein feeling more positive about his offense as he takes the timeout with 8.6 seconds to play until halftime.
It's use it or lose it, and there's not a coach anywhere. I was seeing Bill Walton at UCLA way back in the day. He's the first guy I ever saw shoot that shot, and he might have been the best ever at it.
You know, if you taught a generation, you must have skipped one.
That's
It's
exactly
a generation that forgot how to do that.
It's a very good point.
LeVert with 3 seconds until halftime, fouled, and he'll go to the line for 2. Karis LeVert dribbling himself into the contact from Geno Thorpe, and that's number 2 on Thorpe.
Man, it's really been the Irvin and LeVert show. They have 17 between them, shooting for 18 and 19 if he makes 2 free throws. And that's, again, we talked about that earlier. But for Michigan to have success, they have to score, say, 30 to 34 points between them every game as the first shot goes in.
Off to a very good start tonight. Irvin and LeVert each with 9 first-half points.
I don't think in your scouting report, if you're Patrick Chambers, you're thinking, all right, what could we possibly think of? 6 for 7 from 3 is not in the report.
Good on both for LeVert now with 2.3 seconds to go. Abdul Rahman returns for Michigan.
They don't have a foul to give, so they have to watch themselves if they play it too close.
Johnson will trigger into Garner. Garner from half court. Good if it goes. And it hits the front of the rim. And Michigan with a big lead at halftime. The first 2.
6 out of 7. I mean, John Beilein's got to be loving that. They've been about 35%. They're plus 75 points from the three-point line on the season so far. Tonight, they're way over. They're 18 points from the three-point line to 9 for Penn State.
You see the comparison, first 2 conference games versus tonight. Really the only negative in there, not the negative rebounding margin of the first 2 games, but the turnovers tonight. The only thing that's going against Michigan right now is DJ Newbill, who was quiet after a fast early start. Comes out of the gates firing and hits his first 2 of the second half.
He was. I think the coaches told him after Saturday night when he had the 4 for 17, Kevin, to let the game come to you a little bit. He was forcing his game a little bit, so I think that's where it was. But I suspect at halftime they said, go get the game.
Foul inside as Jordan Dickerson tied up with Ricky Doyle. Dickerson with his first personal foul.
Remember, Michigan scored on the out of bounds late in the first half with LeVert throwing it in and getting it right back.
Trying to get it back again, but out in his face with Dickerson, and he walked with it.
That time he strolled, because Dickerson is a little more of a presence than what he really had nobody guarding him in the first half when he took that second pass from the inbounds. That time he had the 7-footer on. He was a transfer from SMU, came at mid-season last year, Kevin, and he's had some games where he's been a difference maker, specifically the George Washington game, which was the best non-conference win Penn State had.
His size has to be something that causes many to pause as Newbill drives to the rim, and he'll go to the line for a pair. 10 turnovers now for Michigan, and this is a team that came in 7th in the nation, averaging under 10 per game.
And 9.8, so they're already over their average, and that's the only reason they didn't have a lead of, say, 12, 14 points at halftime, because they were shooting 52%, and we mentioned the 6 out of 7, and Penn State was only 9 of 28 in the first half for 32, but the extra shots Penn State is getting, and they haven't missed a foul shot yet.
Newbill avoids the broadcaster jinx.
Yeah.
Dick Girardi, nice work.
Yeah, I just say what I say. That's one of those old wives' tales that I'm just not buying, Kevin. Second.
See, there you go. You have it's a delayed reaction.
That's exactly it. But I'm sure Patrick would take 9 out of the next 10 too.
Doyle trying to go to work, and he walked with it. There's another turnover. The frustrating thing, I think, for Michigan as these turnovers mount up is that a lot of them are unforced.
There was no pressure on the ball. It was just who's going to hand the ball off, and he decided to take a step without dribbling.
See just a glimmer of frustration in the look of John Beilein.
John puts his head in his hands and says, why me? What's up with this? We didn't coach that.
Newbill on the drive. That's a charge. Walton taking the contact. We talked charges in the first half, and the crowd didn't like that call. That's the third on Newbill.
Yeah, that's the big part. Here's the replay. Again, they call the right arms pushing out. And clearly, the defender was still moving, but the call, and when the referee's on the baseline, he's going to see your arm pushing out. And that stiff arm's good in the game where 11 guys are on the side, but not here.
Albrecht fouled by Shep Garner.
And 2 quick fouls in a half, and a minute and a half for Penn State. You don't want to get yourself into the bonus.
That's
3 on
on
Shep
Garner.
Garner now, so the starting guards have 6 fouls between.
And while turnovers are a concern for Michigan, that backcourt being in foul trouble, a bigger concern for Penn State.
No question. And Michigan isn't a high possession team, only 62 a game. That's 330th in the country. But they're having a few more tonight and getting Penn State in foul trouble.
Doyle inside, nowhere to go. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Don't have to rush it. Irvin for 3. And he rolls it home. Zach Irvin has found his range in University Park.
I don't think it's the right side or the left side. I think it's our side, Kevin. When they're close to us, they make everything. 7 out of 8 from 3 now for Michigan.
Zach's going to want to take us with him everywhere he goes if that's the case. Dickerson inside with a left-handed hook. It won't go, and a foul is going to be called on the floor. Brandon Taylor battling inside, and he was fouled.
Number 23,
Harris LeVert with his 3rd. Here's LeVert finding Irvin. And Zach Irvin able to rattle it home.
Penn State just has to hope at some point, if you're 7 out of 8, at some point you miss 5 or 6 in a row. Because if Michigan's going to shoot at that rate, they're obviously going to win the game.
Now LeVert's on the bench with that 3rd foul. Aubrey Dawkins is on now for Michigan. Newbill's fadeaway won't go. And there's Walton skying high again for the rebound. The hesitation and finds Doyle, has it knocked away. Albrecht for 3. And it's poked out of bounds to Michigan.
They were so surprised they missed. Penn State couldn't get the rebound, even though they had 3 of the 4 players under the basket.
Michigan out-rebounding Penn State 19-16.
And Newbill's going to come out because Patrick Chambers I don't think he just can't afford to have him get his 4th foul.
Just underway, 2.5 minutes gone in this second half. Albrecht, nothing doing. He'll have to back it out. Albrecht with Geno Thorpe on him. 15 to shoot. Walton against Garner. Garner playing with 3 fouls. Albrecht, a little floater way off the mark. Ross Travis catches. And the other way, Garner to Travis against Zach Irvin. And the block is called on Irvin.
Fouls on number 21. Zach Irvin is first.
First one on Irvin and the 3rd team foul on Michigan.
This is one of those good news, bad news for Penn State. Ross Travis is shooting 2 free throws, 3 for 20 on the season for the senior.
So what's the good news?
Yeah, the good news is it was a foul on Michigan. It's a team foul.
And Travis missing that first one.
And Ross has not been a terrible free throw shooter in his career, but he got off to an 0 for start. Now it's gotten to his head, and he just can't make any.
Yeah, he's better from 3 this year than he is from the free throw line.
And they've actually moved him off the line because he's been long on all his shots. He was actually about 4 inches behind the line when he shot that, and gets
6-point lead for Michigan. Walton backing up. Working against the big man Dickerson. Here's Albrecht. Entry pass to Doyle. Defense collapsing. Doyle going to work, and he banks it home.
That was really impressive for the freshman, as you called it, Kevin. Everybody collapsed on him. He never took a dribble. He never panicked, and he got the shot up and in.
So young, but John Beilein said this week he has embraced the physicality of this game as well as any player I've ever coached. That's one thing they need, continued growth from Ricky Doyle, because that post is awfully thin.
And they were really short up front, because remember, Jordan Morgan was out of there, and then they thought John Horford was going to be back, and he was a late transfer to Florida. This is a 5th-year player. He could play immediately. Look at him hold his pivot foot. He did dribble. They're calling for a walk, but there was no walk because he took a bounce.
Dickerson off the inbound against Doyle. Thorpe almost lost it. Took his eye off it for a minute. Looking at Walton. Entry pass to Dickerson against Doyle. Back it out to Taylor. Now Travis in the block against Irvin. And Doyle with a strong box out and rebound.
Donovan Jack is up now. They're trying to get some interior scoring. There's a walk.
And Irvin turns it over. Another Michigan turnover. That's 12 tonight. But the turnover is not hurting Michigan.
Dickerson. That won't work any night, and it's certainly not working against Michigan at this point. Down 8, 41-33. They especially have to get Brandon Taylor going because he's an inside-out shooter. And here's what happened at Rutgers, 29%, 31 here. At Rutgers had a 19-point first half, a 27-point second half, and that's only 46. That won't win.
Yeah, rumor has it when you don't shoot the ball well, you don't win a lot of games. That's been the case for Penn State, certainly in that Rutgers game, and tonight struggling from the floor as well.
And they want to test the shooting with this 2-3 zone with not any shooters really on the floor other than John Johnson and Brandon Taylor.
Not a bad strategy as Johnson with 3 on the shot clock has to hoist one. Cannot connect, and Donovan Jack with an offensive rebound. Big board for Penn State. Can they cash in? The 3 for Taylor is short, and the rebound by Dawkins for Michigan. Albrecht on the attack. Doyle, a little trouble with that one. Couldn't go to work against Donovan Jack. The hook by Doyle. We have seen a lot of patience for a young post in Ricky Doyle. You can see why the coaches love this kid.
And it was a timeout by Patrick Chambers. He never gave
on the scoreboard right now.
33-13. They're plus 20. Penn State's bench is 20-10 plus 10. You do the arithmetic. 10-point game. Michigan. DJ Newbill back in with 3.
I was told there would be no math, so I'll leave that up to you. Johnson to a cutter to the basket as you know. Thorpe for 2.
It's the 2 bench players hooking up there for Penn State.
That's a nice play off the timeout by Patrick Chambers.
And here comes this 1-2-2 3-quarter court press.
Albrecht dribbles right through it. The lob and the finish. Dawkins flying high.
And that's what beats any press when you throw the diagonal lob. The press can't get back in time to play.
10-point lead for Michigan. Newbill back off the bench, and Newbill with the jumper. You and I were talking about this during the timeout. Patrick Chambers really had no choice but to bring Newbill back.
He couldn't get down anymore against a team that's playing as well as Michigan is. And you get down 15 or 20 and a team that has trouble scoring, it's really going to be a problem.
Johnson knocking it out of bounds. Michigan will inbound once more, and Michigan finding lots of ways to score.
Beautiful pass by Spike Albrecht to Dawkins, and that was a no doubt about it. And I noticed he's wearing his dad's number that he wore at Duke.
He is a leaper. Young Aubrey Dawkins. Spent his prep season in New Hampshire after finishing his high school career in California, where his dad's the head coach of Stanford. Dawkins' big game, that 20-point burst over Illinois. And a whistle on a foul is called as Irvin drove in.
That was close to, was it a foul or did he slip before the foul and a walk? They called the foul.
Gino Thorpe picks up the personal. That is his 3rd. So 3 now on Thorpe, 3 on Garner, and 3 on Newbill for Penn State. 3 on Levert, the only Michigan player in foul trouble right now.
And both teams with 4 team fouls in the second, so we're not close to the 1-on-1 yet with 13.5 to go.
Albrecht will inbound. Donovan Jack providing big wingspan in front of the inbound. Albrecht's 3. Strong rebound Thorpe. Now the push to Newbill. Newbill 1-on-2 on the attack through the foul. He'll go to the line for a pair.
Yeah, he was not stopping that time again. The defense is at the biggest disadvantage with the ball handler driving right at him. How do you guard somebody when they're coming at you as fast as he was coming? You don't. You end up fouling. He'll shoot 2.
Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman with the foul. That is his 1st. And DJ Newbill headed to the free throw line.
So since I said Penn State had made 9 of 9, Kevin, they have missed 3 out of 4. And the only one they made was a player who was 3 for 21 at the time. Does this make any sense at all?
Not really, although I now think you're a full-fledged broadcaster. You've been an ink-stained Gretsch for all these years, and now you've got the broadcaster jinx in full effect. Dawkins lost the handle on it, and it's a foul.
That was off Dawkins from what I saw. You're right in front of it. They can't look at it until there's 2 minutes left in the game, so the call will stand, but it sure looked to us like it was off Dawkins.
No foul, just out of bounds, so it will belong to Michigan.
And Patrick Chambers is pointing at the board, but it doesn't do any good. You can only look at the last 2 in the overtime.
So Michigan ball up by 7. Bielfeldt wanted to go inside, nowhere to go. 9 to shoot for Albrecht. Driving. A little strong. Jack the rebound. Penn State down 7 with the ball. Newbill, the pull-up for 3. Way off. Rebound Albrecht.
Yeah, he just didn't get his feet under him that time. He's off bounds.
Penn State providing a little pressure. Abdur-Rahman to Irvin for 3. Rebound tipped out long. Irvin gets his own. Irvin, nowhere to go. Needed help. Bielfeldt got it to him. Now Dawkins for 3. And that scramble gets 3 for Michigan, and they're back up by 10.
It's almost always the time when you get a wide open 3 at the end of a scramble, offensive rebound. The defense can't find their men, and Dawkins was wide open, and he knocked it out.
First made 3 tonight for Aubrey Dawkins, 9th of the year. Johnson will try to answer a guarded 3, and he hits anyway, right in the eye of Spike Albrecht.
That was one of those where Coach Chambers is probably saying, really? Thank you. Yeah, that was a very difficult shot.
After they break the pressure, Dawkins will try another 3. Same spot, same result. Aubrey Dawkins with his second best game in a Michigan uniform. He's got 8.
It's now 9 out of 13 from 3-point for Michigan, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different players with a made 3 in this game.
Wow. Travis from the corner on the drive. The dish and the dunk for Donovan Jack. He'll go to the line for a chance at one more.
Michigan of 11.5 for 55%. They're 53% for the game. 18 of 34. Penn State shooting better. They're 5 of 11, 46.5%, but they're only 36% in the game. And the three-point line, 27 to 12 points for Michigan over Penn State.
They've scored 15 points already in this second half. You rewind a few days to the Purdue game, only 18 points. The entire second half in the loss to Boilermakers.
And Penn State's offense is, even though they're shooting poorly, is way better than it was Saturday night when they only had 46 in the game at Rutgers. Little 2-3 zone from Penn State give Michigan something different to look at.
Levert looking down low, nothing there. Dawkins has had the hot hand, 10 to shoot. Everything on the perimeter on this trip down the floor. Irvin trying to change it on the drive inside, and he lost it out of bounds. Turnover at number 13 for Michigan.
That looked like a team that was expecting to play the same defense they'd played against all game, and they weren't ready for the zone. And late on the shot clock, just throw it out of bounds.
Shep Garner to work for Penn State. Newbill left alone, hits the 3. You can't leave DJ Newbill out there. He'll rain those down on you.
And that time he caught the ball in rhythm, unlike that previous 3 where he's off balance. He was ready to shoot it before he ever caught it.
Michigan's 10-point lead is down to 4. And the intensity picking up a little bit for Penn State defensively.
John Beilein's going to call a timeout because he sees what we just saw, Kevin. His team is not quite ready to attack this. So remember how it has to be saying to themselves, they can't keep shooting this well from 3. At least that's what they have to hope, as we're 75% of the way home.
9 for 13 from 3 tonight for Michigan. Levert active. The jumper won't go. The rebound tipped to Taylor. And now Penn State with a chance to creep ever closer. Garner with the touch out to Johnson. Thought he might try that one. Dawkins a little longer reach in front of him. Now Taylor working inside, and Taylor finally finds the bottom of the bucket, and Penn State's within 2.
That's his shot, the low right block off glass. And as you said, the front court has gotten on the board for Penn State, the starting front court.
First make tonight for Taylor in 8 attempts, and Penn State on an 11-3 run to close to a 2-point ball game. Levert harassed, and he'll back it out. Now Derek Walton Jr. sets the offense. 15 to shoot. Around the Doyle screen. Walton the pull-up from the free throw line, and that quiets the Penn State crowd.
Yeah, sometimes you can drive into that gap of the zone and get yourself a clear look, and that's exactly what Derek did there.
John Johnson driving to the rim. Oh, left that one short. Got a good look for himself. Couldn't finish, and now Walton the push. Walton going end-to-end. Drew some contact. No call. Going the other way.
He drew a lot of contact.
Taylor for three in transition. And the rebound to Aubrey Dawkins. Taylor was looking for the shot to get the crowd on its feet. Instead, Michigan gets a chance to add to the lead. Walton, turnover number 15 for Michigan.
It's 5 more than they average in a typical game. For a team shooting 53%, 9 of 13 from 3, they really should be ahead by more than 4 points, but it's the turnovers and the lack of shots. Penn State has 7 more shots in the game and 8 more free throw attempts.
Number 3, Cameron Chapman also checks.
The second half was a problem for Michigan against Purdue. Can they overcome those second half woes and hang on here on the road?
It was their great half in the home Harbaugh opener when they introduced a new football coach at halftime against Illinois when they won in overtime, but not so good in West Lafayette on Saturday.
Here's Garner, the floater and the flush. Jordan Dickerson on the alley-oop, but a 2-point game.
And Penn State's 5-man gets on the board as the front court comes along. The 2-3 zone has been a bit of a game changer on defense.
Doyle couldn't attack. Now they've got to back it out. Got a young group on the floor with Albrecht kind of anchoring it right now. Chapman, tough jumper, rebound. Taylor, Penn State can tie with a 2 or take the lead with a 3. Newbill on the drive for the tie.
That's a tough shot because he actually held the ball on his hip there for a second and went up and kept his eye on the backboard. And John Beilein's going to have to use another timeout as we have a dead heat with 7.5 to go.
Been able to attempt 8 more shots from the floor, and they've outscored them at the free throw line 12-6.
And it was the turnover that killed Michigan 2 years ago in that big upset, 84-78 at the end of February here at the Georgia Center.
Spike Albrecht dishing to Walton, and the jumper no good, but a foul. And Derek Walton Jr. fouled by Shep Garner, and that's going to give him a chance at 3 free throws after the timeout on the floor.
That's a frustration foul, and it was certainly a foul. You're talking about assistant coach problems, and no head coach wants that. Guys, calm down. Let's play the game.
Walton, a 78% free throw shooter. That's his first attempt and make of the night. No bench warning there for Penn State at this moment. That is a quiet Nittany Lion bench.
They won't be saying nothing the rest of the night other than giving advice to the coach if he asks for it.
One more for Walton. It's a big foul on Shep Garner a moment ago. His 4th, and Walton hits all 3.
And it was going to be a very difficult shot. It was a low percentage shot, and Derek took it and took the hit because Gino is an aggressive player that time, just a little too aggressive.
DJ Newbill will bounce it over to Gino Thorpe.
Little 1-3-1 half-court trap for Michigan. First time they've showed that this game.
Working down low, nowhere to go. Can't find Dickerson. Newbill with 12 to shoot to skip to Taylor. Michigan, excellent defensive possession. Can they finish it off? Taylor, the pull-up, hits the side of the backboard. 1 to shoot, and it's a shot clock violation. What a time to switch defenses. Michigan had him completely flummoxed.
They did, and that was a staple for John when he was at West Virginia. He's used it from time to time here at Michigan, but when he's had the really good players, he just sticks with the man-to-man. But Penn State was starting to get comfortable. He did exactly what Patrick Chambers did to him. Let's give you something to make you uncomfortable. Penn State was.
These two have locked horns, John Beilein and Patrick Chambers, for a long time, back to the days where Coach Chambers was player Chambers at Philadelphia Textile.
For the legendary Herb McGee, 7 wins from 1,000.
Going against John Beilein when he was the coach at Lemoyne. Walton, and a wild off-balance shot there, and Newbill will navigate the other way. Tough pass, and it's deflected out of bounds. Travis couldn't handle it. Excellent play by Zach Irvin, who was able to get a piece of it off of Travis.
Zach Irvin has been live all night long. He's been in the middle of a lot of passing lanes. He's saved balls for his teams on offense to keep possessions alive. And that was the kind of pass you really, DJ, would like to have that one back, I'm sure, because where was Ross Travis going even if he caught it?
Zach Irvin, 12 points, 6 assists tonight, or 6 rebounds rather, and 2 assists. Excellent line for Irvin. He'll try the 3, and Zach Irvin a little bit short from a spot that he's found much to his liking tonight. Behind the arc. Newbill bumped by Doyle, and Ricky Doyle picks up his second personal foul, and that will send Penn State to the line for the 1-and-1 7th team foul on the Wolverines. So 2 on Doyle, 7 on Michigan as a team, and DJ Newbill to the line where he's 4 for 6 tonight.
He's got 17.6 rebounds and an assist.
This is the front end, and a foul the other way. That'll be the 16th foul on Brandon Taylor. He picks up his second. Coming up next, it's BTN women's basketball. Penn State Nittany Lions taking on Wisconsin. The Badgers and Penn State next on BTN.
So Penn State got it tied, then they fouled a three-point shooter, then they were lost against the 1-3-1 and missed the front end of a 1-on-1 from their best player.
Now Michigan with a chance to stretch that three-point lead again. Karis LeVert, quiet in this second half. 10 points for the game. LeVert trying to light a fire once more. LeVert at the free throw line. Little duck under to get open and get the 2.
Great ball fake to get Ross Travis on the flyby, and as you called it, Kevin, just up and under. Took his time. There wasn't any defense left, and he knocked it in for a 5-point lead.
Well, that 5-point lead seems awfully big right now because of the circumstances to get that 5-point lead. And Michigan has gained that lead because it ratcheted up the pressure on the defensive end.
Yeah, they want to see if Penn State knows where to attack and how to attack. And they're going to come in with 3 different offensive players now to get a better look at that 1-3-1.
Remember that timeout that John Beilein took with about 10 minutes to go in the half, and he was really pushing at his kids and trying to light a fire under them, and switching defenses a little bit seems to have done the trick. Garner shooting over that Michigan defense, and he hits the three.
They got offense on the floor and offense passed to offense, and Shep Garner's a very good three-point shooter, and that was always it. And he's playing with 4 fouls, freshman from Roman Catholic and Philly.
Garner had not done much tonight from an offensive standpoint, just his second bucket of the night. The bounce to Albrecht. Albrecht still scoreless after his 17-point performance at Purdue. 9 to shoot, and now it's Penn State who's ratcheted up the defense a little bit. 4 to shoot for LeVert. The floater off the window with 2 to shoot. Karis LeVert.
He took on everybody in the white uniform that time, and against the zone, there wasn't anybody that didn't have a shot at Karis, and he beat them all.
4-point game, Michigan on top on the road as we approach 4 minutes to play. That one kicked by LeVert with 4:01 left in the second half. John Johnson will inbound. Going down to a great finish again between these two teams, just like 2 years ago here at the Bryce Jordan Center. Johnson, tough pass to Newbill. 9 to shoot. Johnson with the fake. Nice dish inside to Jack for 2.
That's where the 1-3-1 is vulnerable. You get it into the lane area, there's only one man on the back line. It was easy to beat.
Donovan Jack has found some room down there tonight. He's got 9. Second best game of the night, or of the year rather, for Donovan Jack. In a back-and-forth game with 3.5 to go, Michigan by 2. LeVert starting. LeVert finishing once more. He was quiet, but now Karis LeVert heating up. He's got 16.
Yeah, he is the player that they have to get going, and he has got himself going there the last 2 possessions.
Scored the last 6 points now for Michigan, maintaining that 4-point lead. Nearly a turnover by Newbill. Took his eyes off just a moment, and now we've got a whistle and a timeout taken by Patrick Chambers at Penn State.
I don't know if it's as good as Wisconsin's front court trifecta, which is ridiculously good right now, but it's pretty good.
Penn State saw that Wisconsin front court up close. Penn State played a good basketball game there, but Wisconsin was just a little bit better. Newbill feeding Jack. Back to Newbill with 9 on the shot clock, and DJ Newbill able to gather and find the bucket.
And that play was called from the bench. That's why they called the timeout. They wanted to go to the low post and then have the cutter come right behind. Worked perfectly.
2:40 to play. And a 2-point ball game. LeVert calling out for the screen from Doyle. In the corner, Walton open. A little bit short. Big collision between Newbill and Walton, and Michigan gets the basketball.
That was a 50-50. I don't think it was anybody's fault. There was a lot of contact, but I don't know that there was. I think it's probably a good no call.
Yeah, you like to see the players be able to go after that ball in the air like that. Here's LeVert, and then a hand check on DJ Newbill, and that's number 4 on Newbill. 2:07 remaining in this second half. DJ Newbill, Thorpe with 3. Really none to speak of for Michigan. Karis LeVert's been playing very effectively with 3 fouls. He's the only Michigan player with 3 or more.
And if this game gets into overtime, and that's certainly a possibility, that's even a bigger factor with the two guards with 4 for Penn State.
LeVert missing the front end. Doyle trying for the rebound. It goes out of bounds to Penn State. Went off the foot of one of the Wolverines in the midst of that massive humanity. You'll see it here.
Kevin, I was going to mention that Michigan was 9 out of 10 from the free throw line, but I think it was in my mind that I was thinking that, so I didn't want to jinx them too.
Brandon Taylor on the bounce to Garner. 1:51 to play. 2-point ball game. Johnson for the lead. A little bit strong, and the rebound cradled by Zach Irvin.
That was the fake pass shot. You don't see too many of them, and that's a difficult shot to make. You fake the pass into the low box and then shot it in one motion.
You could hear a few groans and moans from the fans here at the Bryce Jordan Center on that shot. Walton wanted to go inside the Doyle, just couldn't get it to him. He's going to use a little clock.
And no zone here for Penn State. They'll play straight up man.
Michigan's done a better job hanging on to the basketball. No turnover since the 8:30 mark. That's, of course, been something that's plagued them all night long. Big bucket for Zach Irvin to make it a 2-possession game.
And they got Penn State's defense moving with the dribble penetration from Derek Walton that time, and they just never could catch up.
Here's Johnson. Back to Newbill. Newbill banging his way inside. Lost the ball. Taken away by Michigan.
Penn State coaches were hoping for a foul on Walton there. There was some contact. I think there's a foul by John Johnson. He's going to take one.
Johnson with his first personal foul. 1-and-1 coming as you see Walton dishing to Irvin. And when they've needed Zach Irvin tonight to make some big shots, he has delivered.
Yeah, he has. And again, Brandon Taylor ran at him that time, Kevin. And when he ran at him, if you can't run at a player that still has his dribble, you're in no man's land. That's exactly what happened to Taylor.
So Walton to the free throw line. Front end is good. Walton tonight 4 for 4. He's got 9 points. 9 for Walton, 14 for Irvin, 16 for LeVert. Don't dismiss the contributions in the second half of Ricky Doyle and Aubrey Dawkins as well. When LeVert and Irvin were quiet, Doyle and Dawkins were making noise.
Yeah, no question. And Penn State's in a must-score situation here because they're going to call timeout with 48.4. If they don't score here, they're just in a position they're going to have to foul.
Foul trouble worth mentioning again. DJ Newbill with the ball in his hands. He's got 4 fouls. Newbill has his pocket picked. Irvin to the other end. Zach Irvin with the exclamation point.
Well, they obviously knew the same thing we talked about. They just trapped Newbill and got it from him and had a run out up 8 down.
And now desperation time for Penn State as Johnson throws in a prayer and it's answered.
He was trying to draw a foul. And shot the ball anyway, and it went in.
John Johnson.
They came from 10 here to get this thing tied, but they just could never get over the hump. That one firepower. That Derek Walton, the 3 foul shots from the corner, that was the sort of the Michigan was reeling. That got them steady.
And then LeVert took over for a stretch and scored 6 straight points to help out. Albrecht's got to call timeout.
That was close.
One remaining for Michigan. No timeouts left for Penn State with 32.5 seconds. That's what matters, and for Michigan and Penn State, just trying to get better with these teams as they move on through the Big Ten. Now the inbound to Walton. He is immediately fouled by John Johnson, and Walton tonight at the line is a perfect 5 for 5.
His second. 19th foul for Penn State. DJ Newville, Brandon Taylor.
Michigan a chance to go, as we mentioned in conference play, a chance to go 2-1 with a win here on the road. And up next is Minnesota. Minnesota's had its ups and downs to start conference play. Then at Ohio State, Northwestern, at Rutgers, and then the matchup with Wisconsin. But that's a schedule that's conducive to seeing success at least through mid-January.
Yeah, there are certainly some games on there, the home games, and Minnesota's struggling a little bit. They play right after us tonight. They haven't won, but they've been on the road, and it's just very difficult for Michigan to get a road win this early in the season. It is very big for them, and they can make up for a lot of what happened. You get 10, 11 wins in the Big Ten, all of a sudden committees start saying, all right, well, they weren't good then, but they got better.
Well, you ask any coach about winning on the road in this league, I don't care where you win. You get a win on the road in the Big Ten, you walk out feeling like you've accomplished something.
And Penn State's won all of their home games. This is going to be a very frustrating game for them because they got themselves behind big at the beginning, then caught up, then big again, caught up, couldn't finish the game.
Walton continues his success at the foul line. 70-63 now, Michigan by 7. And our Quicken Loans amazing performance. Zach Irvin, 16 points, 8 rebounds, great hustle plays, added a couple of assists. He was terrific tonight. And Newbill is fouled by Bielfeldt. And Newbill will go to the line with 25.6 seconds to go and shoot 2 free throws. Not what John Beilein wanted, for Penn State to have a chance to score with the clock stopped.
I think that was maybe their last opportunity to go to the rim and not take a free. Again, you can't count on Michigan missing free throws because they're just not missing them. And the other problem is they're now shooting 2 the rest of the game. It's 9 team fouls. The next one will be 10.
Newbill good on the first. In comes Walton for Michigan. Ross Travis and Jordan Dickerson in to provide some rebounding opportunities for Penn State on a Michigan miss.
And they're also in to take a foul, I'm sure, on the inbounds. If DJ makes this, it'll be 21 for him. That's sitting right on his average.
Can't connect. Rebound, though, to LeVert. And pretty good work by Michigan on the glass tonight. And that's one of the areas that John Beilein was talking about with us before the game. He wanted to see his team do a better job on the glass. They're poised to win the rebounding battle tonight.
Yeah, they are. And a lot of that is a function of the shooting. Michigan's been so good shooting 53%. There's just only been 19 misses for Penn State to get on the defensive glass. Conversely, Penn State's 22 of 51. That's 29 misses that have been sitting out there for Michigan. And they've been pretty good on the offensive glass, which isn't typically what they do, but tonight they've gotten enough of them to keep them alive.
One thing Michigan is doing is hitting their free throws tonight. They are 12 of 14. I'm sorry, rather 13 of 15 at the free throw line tonight. And LeVert good on both there. Karis LeVert stretching the lead to 8, 72-64, and LeVert with 18 points.
Michigan's had a lot of stars tonight, but Karis has been the star of stars, especially down the stretch when they needed big hoops. He's made them all.
Johnson with the 3. Won't go. 16 seconds remaining, and a foul. Irvin will go to the line. Geno Thorpe commits his 4th personal foul. And back goes Michigan to the line, now 15 of 17, 88% as a team.
Only issue now is the final score. Penn State just out of chances. They had to make a couple of threes if you're going to make a comeback against a team that's making all these free throws. They finally missed, but I think it's probably too late. for Penn State.
Well, Dick, one thing we talked about all night long with Michigan was turnovers. They've not turned it over since the 8:30 mark in the second half. They got those under control, and the offense started to click again.
Yeah, they shot a great percentage all night. When they got shots up, at the moment they're at 53% for the game. That's a number that's going to win 98% of the time when you don't turn it over.
When you throw 60% in from three,
yes,
it's going to feel pretty good for John Beilein on the trip back to Ann Arbor. Newbill's three won't go. 8 seconds to go. It's tie up, and the jump ball will give it to Michigan on the other end.
I think Penn State will probably call it off here. Kevin, there's no point in fouling. You can't win down 9 with 7.4 seconds left.
Patrick Chambers has given the sign to call off the Dogs. Michigan's going to inbound, and Michigan is going to get a hard-earned road win tonight at University Park here at Penn State. 73-64. Michigan victorious tonight.